We're above Privet Cove in the workroom of Konstantine, who's the owner here of Privet Cove, which sells what? Antiques?
Everything. Antiques, old, new, and beautiful things in general.
You remake old, beautiful furniture here, right?
We do.
You sell old furniture, but your passion is American flags.
Yes, it is.
How long have you been collecting American flags?
For at least 20-odd years.
20-odd years. Now, the first American flag was made when?
It's 1776.
1776, and we didn't add 50 stars until what, 458? Is that right?
1959 is when the 50 states came in.
Great, and that of course was Alaska and Hawaii. So, but before Hawaii ever even was a thought, what do you have here? What's the earliest flag? I've seen a lot of different flags. They all look about the same, of course, with the notable exception of the stars, the pattern of the stars. What have we got here, for example?
Well, traditionally you're going to have your 13 stars. It starts with red and ends with red.
13 stripes.
13 stripes, sorry.
It always starts with red and ends with red?
Always starts with red, ends with red.
Konstantine's collection is American
It's
flags. Now, the American flags typically have, obviously, an equal number of states as there are stars, and of course the last state was Hawaii in 1959, is that right? And 13 stripes, right?
Exactly.
Now, is it always consistent? The stripe pattern was always
Well,
consistent?
you always are going to have 13 stars, but what changes on these is a pattern. For example, every flag maker had its own way of making it. The traditional pattern we have now, and an American flag, would be like this 48-star flag here. It has all the stars with the points going up and the bars going across.
Okay, so this is a more contemporary version?
That's a more contemporary version.
So all the points go up on the stars in the field of blue, right?
Right.
And then all the points go across.
Right.
Now, has it always been like that?
It has not always been like that. Prior to 1912, every flag maker had its own way of making flags. There was no real official way of making stars. For example, over here you have a 38-star flag. And you could see the flags are cockeyed in different ways. This is a 42-star flag. Every pattern...
Stars are cockeyed.
Stars are cockeyed. The different patterns, different ways of making them. Different flag makers had different methods. For example, this 38-star flag here is from 1877. And it was in the period of 1877 to 1890. This one is actually one of my rare flags at the moment. It's a 36-star flag. It's from 1865. And that at that point, Abraham Lincoln was still alive.
Really?
Yeah, it's the end of the Civil War, and actually becomes a rare flag for a couple of reasons. You had the Civil War going on prior to that, so fabric was a really rare commodity. It was scarce and rare, mostly used for munitions. You'd rarely use it for flags and such. Different factors determine different prices on flags. For example, smaller flags, these are called parade flags. You'd have these size flags would be more common. So they would be used at parades, people would wave them around, and afterwards normally discarded. Right. If you were, say, a period of 5 years later, 1870, you had a couple more states, 5 more states. Nobody would want a 36-star flag or 38-star flag because it was passé. It was you weren't in vogue, so you just never want to fly. Yeah, you'd never want to fly it.
Something like this, what would you expect to see it sold for?
I would anywhere from $3,200 to $3,800.
$3,200 to $3,800.
Right, because it's Civil War era.
But and the smaller one?
$25.
I have to stop you here because this is just patent applied for on this flag.
Yeah, exactly.
What kind of a patent would you have on the flag?
See, that was the weird part. It's because it's 42 stars. You jump from a 38-star flag to a 43-star flag. So the flag makers didn't really know what the flag was going to look like because every year a different flag would come in. This one over here, which I'm working on now to frame, this is called an odd pattern flag. You can see over here how the stars are missing in between.
They would just add the stars as the states were added?
Yeah, this is 44 stars, so 45, 46, 47, 48. So they would just pop them in.
A flag like this is much more rare?
It's rare to find, but less collectible.
Is it really? Why?
Most people don't understand it. Most people look at it and notice something strange about it, but they won't realize that, they wouldn't, unless you understand the history.
What made you start collecting flags?
I've always been a history buff. So my first flag I ever collected was a 33-star flag.
And what did you do? You just fell in love, and then the next one you got another one and another
one? It was a history project, and I saw it at a garage sale. The fellow wanted $150 for it. At that time, was more than my allowance, and he sold it to me for $100.
Wow.
So, and I still have it to this day, but
You still have that flag?
that's the only one.
So you paid $100 for the flag in what, the 70s? I
Yeah,
assume.
basically. Yeah.
And now a flag like that, what would you see it sold?
It's a pretty rare flag. Would be about 5,000 or 6,000.
5,000 or
I would sell for 5 or 6. It's probably worth more.
Now you told me that after 9/11, the whole flag industry really
Yeah,
popped.
it was really interesting. Or even prior to 9/11, these flags would sell for maybe 60, 70 bucks. Now, for me to find a flag in this rough condition, it's going to cost me at least $250, $300.
in
this condition.
In this condition.
And most people who collect flags keep them. Very rarely do they leave their families.
Really?
You know, because Uncle Joe had it, and then he passed down to Susie, and Susie passed down to her child Bobby, and that's how. And they remain in the family for years. Every one of these is a piece of history. Civil War era flags. You can't get more classic document of our history than an American flag. There's a renewed pride happening in America.
Mm-hmm.
You know, no matter who wins in the election, doesn't matter. Everybody's starting to go back to the hope that we always had. And I see it in my flag sales, I see it in my shop sales in terms of American-made products. We're starting to go back to our roots, I truly believe that, and we're starting to get pride in who we are again. We lost our way, and we're finding our way back again. I truly believe that.